Hello, LuxEco Living community. I'm Bethany Colson, managing editor of LuxEcoLiving.com. Thank you for tuning in today. We have a very special opportunity to speak with Lisa Gautier of matteroftrust.org. Lisa, thank you so much for being here and taking the time to speak with us. I know that you and your colleagues have been, very busy and overwhelmed with everything that's happened since the April 20th disaster in the Gulf and the millions of barrels of, or millions of gallons of oils that are being dumped in the Gulf as we speak. So your story is fascinating. I think that it is so relevant on many levels, not least of which is the eco-friendly and environmentally sustainable alternatives that you offer in terms of cleanup efforts, but also your story and as an insider point of view into the cleanup as a whole, the kind of dance between well-meaning organizations such as yourself, the government, BP, and without further ado, maybe you can tell us a little bit about Matter of Trust and what personally compelled you to start this organization in 1999.
Thanks. Yeah, we started Matter of Trust 12 years ago. We wanted to look at solutions for surplus. So we were first just dealing with man-made surplus like furniture and toys and clothing, that sort of thing. We began an online database program called Reuse for Society's Abundance, ROSA. And that program is still growing strong. And we decided to develop a database of wish lists and of donations that small businesses and households might have, when they wanted to get rid of stuff. And so basically what we did was just create a place where people could post things and a place where people could wish for things, and we matched them. And with man-made surplus being one of our focuses, we then started to look at natural surplus, things that were abundant in nature, so solar power, wind power, biodiesel, looking at grease and that sort of thing. And something came up to us about 10 years ago, which was this idea of hair fibers and fur fibers are cut every day by salons and groomers, and they're a surplus, but they just go into the waste stream. And so we discovered that there was a gentleman named Phil McCrory, who was a hairstylist in Alabama, who had been watching the Exxon Valdez oil spill in Alaska in 1989 while he was shampooing a really oily head of hair. And he, it just sort of clicked for him that hair soaks up oil. That's why we shampoo. And he had been working on this program for many years. And by the year 2000, when we met him, he said, would you like to look at recycling in the United States? Because he was purchasing hair in China and making mats for oil spills in China. And he had a company called Ottimat, OTTIMAT.com. And but he wasn't, doing much with it with American hair because there wasn't a recycling system. So our charity started to take that up, and we've been working on that for the last 10 years.
So you actually made it systemic, in the sense that all of these salons who are collecting hair and would otherwise put them in the trash now have a system, right, for having a central place to send it.
So basically, this had been bubbling along from 2000 to 2007 with us, and then there was an oil spill in San Francisco where we're based and located, and at that point we went out onto the beaches with all of our hair and with Phil McCrory had actually donated a bunch of hair mats as well, and we had purchased a bunch of mats, and we had we're looking at all the different ways that you could use this, and that got a lot of press because an oil spill in San Francisco gets a lot of press, and we started to get salons and groomers from all over the United States and even some in Canada to sign up. And then in April of this year, April 21st, when the oil spill, when the BP oil explosion happened, we were watching with the fires and everything, trying to burn it off, and we were speaking to the salons that had signed up with us a couple of years before down in the Gulf, and they were saying, you know what, it looks like they're going to stop burning it, looks like it's going to start coming in, maybe we should have some hair come to us, and we should start booming it. And booming means you get donated nylons and you stuff the hair fur and fleece into these nylons, and you make these sort of sausages that can soak up and block the oil. And we started that April 30th of this year, and between April 30th and May 3rd, we grew in as many people signing up as we had in all previous 10 years put together. It just exploded because the press got a hold of it, and the whole idea started to spread from salon to salon to salon. It's a huge network of people who love to talk. And at that point, it really became systemic.
And so we're talking hair and fur, like dog groomers, right?
Exactly.
And zookeepers probably have an excess.
Yes, vets. We have fleece coming from farmers. We even got buffalo fleece in. We have feathers from farmers. So everything that you basically see that soaks up oil in nature, we've been looking at, because it's basically this stuff that would go into the waste stream. Although I have to say the fleece that we're getting, a lot of it is prime fleece, but the stuff that is, they have different degrees of how great the different fleeces are. And some of them are just donating all of it because they're just incredibly generous. Other ones are some of it they sell, and the rest of it they can donate. But everything else, like the fur clippings and the hair clippings, we even get wig waste from wig makers. All long hair gets donated to Locks of Love and Just for Kids, Wigs for Kids. But any smaller clippings, no matter how small, can come to this thing. And it's all made by volunteers. The nylons are donated. The fur clippings are donated. The warehouse space is donated, and then the booms at the